Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo buddhaya, namo dhammaya, namo sanghaya. Hello to all of you. It's now 12:35 in Florida. Um, hello to everybody on the east, west, north, south, all four corners of the world. I just got done having a conversation with one of my devotees, and present with me to my left is Novice Devan, aka Novice D. Do you want to say hello? Audible?
Hello, everybody.
Hope you guys can hear that because he's on my little tiny phone on the far left. So occasionally you see me look left. He was Novice D is getting into psychology. We have where's my book over there? Oh, it's in my room. Dang it! But um, Novice D is getting into the introduction to psychology. And nowadays, you got these books, right? Mm, hold on, let me go grab it. Hold on, so I can do it justice real quick. It's right over here. I got it. I got it. It's right here. It's right here. I got it. I just need to grab a bottle of water. Oh, all right. Sorry. Mm. Now, each student. Oh God, I went to below five, getting books for my students, and I came across a bunch of good $5 books. $5. Hallelujah. $5. All right. So Novice D's reading this tonight. Psychology 101, the essential guide to the science of the mind. But, however, see these little bubbles in here? He is studying personality, cognitive psychology, my specialty, behaviorism, conditioning, association, Pavlov's, mental health, psychotherapy, developmental psychology, emotion, morality, motivation and choice, social psychology, my specialty, the unconscious mind, my specialty, thought and learning, which is what is happening now this year with the children. So it's a lot of fun for like, this is for anyone can read this. It's got history of psychology and like what's going on with the mind. So it brings great joy that Novice D is jumping into this in the middle of Buddhism, and then he's going to realize that, oh, everything that psychology is teaching, the Buddha had already done taught. The psychology and science is now catching up to what the Buddha said 2,568 years ago. So, anyways, well, so that's that. Tonight, everyone knows that I'm guiding a family, multiple families. And somewhere down the line, a particular family wanted me to move in with them, which I have no problem. I'm a homeless beggar. That's what a monk is. He's a homeless beggar. A monk is, according to our tradition and the unconventional definition, is that we were the first psychologists in the world. When you think about it, 2,568 years ago, the Buddha taught psychology. He taught he taught Buddhism. Buddhism is the most effective and comprehensive educational system the world has ever seen. And so hold on, I just seen a message real quick. To on my Instagram, Zanet, Za- Zagnet, you went to Thai Theravada Temple. You have so many questions, so just hold it for now, and I'll have a conversation with you after my live because I think me and you were trying to see each other when I was in LA. So so yeah, so so we were the first cycle. So our monks' job, monks wandering ascetic, we wander all four corners of the world trying to spread the Dhamma. Obviously, here in America is a little different. Sometimes we do engage in family counseling, and I'm I'm just wandering around in the world, like I have been over the past couple of days, bouncing around. And if you take the entirety of this year, I've traveled more in this year than I've traveled any part of in my life. So, anyways, along talking to this family member who is a devotee, and I don't think I've ever used that word devotee. People who listen to our biweekly discussions notice Venerable Sarnapala talks about devotees. And I have not had the pleasure to say devotees amongst millions of my followers. Can you believe that? Well, actually, let me take that back, man. There were, I do have devotees. It hasn't crossed my mind. And Novice D's nodding his head. I guess for it to fit. Oh my God, can you not? That doesn't look right. You look like fashion monk. He's experimenting with the retired robes that I gave him. So he's putting on the orange, and he this is what novices do when they're bored at night. When novices appear in front of me for review of the literature, and then I go live and they get all excited and they think that they're going to appear live with me, but they don't. So they run and grab their robes, and then now he's experimenting with, it's not winter. I guess in order for me to use the word devotee, my mind, I'm sorry, it's my mind's fault, it's not me. My mind gotta have this impression that this person is devoted to the adoption of a monk. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. And over the past 9 years, I don't believe that my mind was ever convinced by into the actions of others that I felt, that translated to my feelings, that I felt that I had devotees. So it was up until recently where people started taking noticeable, notable actions in my life, and I'm quite moved by it. We are cautioned as monks not to use the word moved because we're not supposed to be moved by anything that's good or bad. However, I'm human, not an arahant, not a saint, and not perfect. So the previous actions that some of these people have taken quite moved me out of my seats and quite moved me in my mind, heart, and matter. And so it leads to tonight's talk. So this one devotee, Dr. K, said, you're helping me and you're helping the kids a lot. We would love it if you would make here your residence. Dr. K knows that I have a lot of agendas, and even if I do decide to make residence there to help out with the kids, the whole entire family system and unit, it would probably be in the January area, the soonest, which is a little sad because I always want things done right away. But due to things that is already on my agenda, I just don't know where to turn, what to do, and how to. I just have all these cases committed here in Pinellas County. Dr. K sent me what appears to be a law firm that is hiring. And I told Dr. K that I might just consider it with how much they're paying hourly. I disclosed to Dr. K that, believe it or not, Ajahn owes the IRS money. I disclosed to Dr. K that I owe credit card money, which you all don't know. but a lot of monks have credit cards because we we have to pay for the four requisites that I spoke about yesterday. And at the time of this talk, I just told Miss Young in California that I needed two additional miscellaneous robes. And I spoke about the need for miscellaneous robes. They last longer, less waste, just sustainable for our earth. And I told Miss Young that I don't have the money to pay you and that perhaps this Friday I will pay you. Um, and she's done it before. She's sent me robes before, and I pay her thereafter. So tonight you're hearing a lot of things that you don't get to hear out of a monk, especially online, and now this is being broadcasted in front of the whole world. Is that our rules stated that we cannot purchase robes, that the robes have to be donated by lay people. In essence, here's the tricky part in the back route and the back door and the gray spots is that when I receive donations, people are like, this is for your robes. Um, you know, so then I take that money and it needs to be applied exactly where the intention of the people wants it, just where it needs to go. It just needs to go where it needs to go, not, a pack of Coca-Cola. That's bad karma on the monk's part, the misusing of fundings and funds and period. So anyway, so I have to utilize amendments to the Vinaya and all of these very headaches. Thinking about the 227 rules and trying to abide by them, it can lead a monk to have a stroke in the eyes of senior monks and people who are watching, and they wait for you to fall and so on. So I disclosed that to Dr. K, and I said, yeah, I told the world, that I had to go back to work in order to support my own spiritual path. There's amendments to the rules on that, whereas, my teacher said if the temple cannot keep the light on, then the monks go back to work so that they can keep the light on in the temple. I don't have a temple. We're going to talk about that. That's in tonight's talk too. And there are rumors, backdoor political conversations, the possibility of uh, the abbots handing over a monastery to me. Um, I have a digital monastery, which is here. This is why we're here. So ever since, so you all know, so just go back 2000 and like, I don't know, 2019 area when I just, oh, it's hot in here. I experimented on TikTok, and so the deal was I was out teaching a driving class at a church, and this was during the Asian hate thing. So the first video suggests that. And I don't know who this guy was, but he's a representative of the church. He comes out, detains both of us, wouldn't let us leave. He reaches in the back like he's reaching for a gun. And I told him, instructor, student, we're just using the parking lot to drive. We're not doing anything. And the guy wouldn't let us leave, and he started reaching in the back as suggesting body language that he has a gun. So he held us there for a minute before he changed his mind and let us go. And again, this is during, after COVID, so after COVID, I'm sorry, during COVID. Oh my God, my mind. So people were like hatred towards Asian because of the Wuhan situation. They're like, oh, where did COVID come from? Oh, China, great. So anyone that looks like this Asian guy or similar, they just already have this pre hate, and then that hatred proliferates once they are directly in person. Then I'm using their parking lot. There's no sign that says I cannot. So, anyways, so the way how I felt about it, I was just like, great. So I go back to Blissful Beginnings where I teach, and so during the COVID era, we had nurses that could get on TikTok to try to influence and help young people understand the importance of wearing a mask and to also display their life as a nurse frontline, so that people can see that, it's really rough being a nurse frontline. So the fact that certain nurses garnered 50,000, 100,000, I was like, well, let me just try this thing called TikTok. I back in my day I had MySpace, and I kept Facebook for the longest time. Never had an Instagram up until around that time. 2018 was when I started Instagram. So when Thailand reported when I was ordained, no, I was not ordained 2018. You all just went back to the pictures of 2018 in my Instagram. I was my ordination was when my grandmother passed away, 2015. It was funny. Uh, so so I tried it and I spoke about my experience, and it blew up to like 200,000. And I just kept teaching and teaching on TikTok. So now here we are. Then the amount of questions that came in, and depression and anxiety and suicidal ideation from students, I decided to say, look, if you need counseling, I'm here to lend a helping ear. So ever since then, hundreds and thousands of messages come in, and I have responded to 98% of them. And now, with a blink of an eye, ever since I was ordained 9 years ago, going on 10, and now that I'm here, some of these questions came tonight, such as, do you have a website? No. Do you have a nonprofit organization, also known as a 501c3? No. So, Ajahn Jidao, why do you not have them? Well, I spoke to Dr. K by text message, and I said, the duty of a monk is to be a monk. And bless your heart. Hold on. Someone says, oh, here, let me respond. Okay, that's the link to Pope Boy. I swear, let me not say some of these usernames out there, because you guys have a lot of really funny usernames, and I don't want to sound funny right now. I'm trying to give a serious talk. But here's the link. Just click on the link. Oh my goodness. Oh, Novice D, how do I survive? Um, I was trained in a very strict way. I was brought up in a very strict way. I carried myself in a very strict manner, as much as I could. Obviously, TikTok, I got to entertain the Gen Zoomer so they can get into Buddhism. But if you ever get to be in my presence and seen some of the one-on-one sessions and all the stuff that is evident on Facebook and YouTube, you realize that he's young, he's got a mixture of laughter and joy, but when he gets down to business, he gets down to business. Um, so I was trained, my dad's a military lieutenant. I became head of a security establishment organization when I was 21, charged with a lot of responsibility of a leader. And I believed when I carry myself as a monk that I never thought I was going to become a monk in my entire life. I realized that a monk should just be a monk. He should not advertise himself. He should not have all of these things of worldly attachment and affairs. But of course, comes modern day, people are looking for that. People are looking, well, do you have a website so we can know who you are, your biography, and all that good stuff? What do you do? How can we help? How can we contribute? So I'm not that very technologically advanced like you all think. I fumble around with some of these things. I don't know what's going on. You guys all get to see that from time to time on my lives. I'm like, I don't know why this is crashing. I just don't know. I don't know how to build a website. I barely now, can get through Microsoft Word, Excel, and all of that good stuff because I haven't touched it. I studied since I was 14 years old with regular textbooks, took regular notes, try to keep to myself, use the phone as it is, just a phone and not a computer. This is how I advanced spiritually and academically. So the possibility of Dr. K speaking to her partner about establishing a website brings a lot of joy to me. Ecstatic. And the possibility of 501c3. Let's talk about the 501c3. I was trained at Ecker College to know how to get into nonprofit, run nonprofit, and also investigate nonprofit. My dad used to work for nonprofit. When I did my research, and the class was ran by Professor Groesbeck at Ecker College, so she said, "Go ahead, go and um, choose an organization for you to do your research." So I chose the same organization that my dad used to work, which is it was done by the director is Miss Caroline. Maybe someone there now, not Miss Caroline, but at the time of my research, I don't know, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10, something like that, 2016, 2015, 15. Um, so I went to the Asian Neighborhood Family Center in Leoman. It is funded by JWB and the Gulf Coast Jewish Family Center, something like that. I go down there, I say who I am. I tell them I'm from Ecker College. I tell them I'm doing it for a class. And she takes all these photos and spread it out on like a 12-foot foldable table for me to examine, you know, who's funding all of this, what is the expenditure, the odometers and the cars and everything that we were taught in the class. So I think I thought about it. And then when I began my monk life, I volunteered to help a nonprofit, also known as a Home for Art. I went to school with Mashallah, who is the president and CEO. So that was a lot of fun to teach meditation, raising money for a Home for Art, and knowing that the money is going to homeless kids who have been victim of trauma, abuse, homelessness. It just brought a lot of joy. So I got a lot of experience in nonprofit. Clearly, you see. Along the way of my monk life, I carried all of you with me since 2018 until now. You all get to witness all of the students, all of the assistant to the venerable. Um, you all get to see the many personalities. You all get to see the many faces that sit with me, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens. Um, and so I get to learn their behavior. I get to learn their nature, style, disposition, who they are, and it was wonderful. It was beautiful. Um, I ordained a good number of people to be novice monks of all sorts of ages, who I trusted. And along the way, what people did not know was that I had to discipline quite a few, keyword few, handful. Um, and there were ups and downs. Obviously, I try to not display the downs so that people keep an enthusiastic mind towards Buddhism. But they obviously contributed to me aging an additional 10 years because they're novices. And this is why I believe that my time is coming to become vice abbot, perhaps full abbot, and how valuable the experience to have run my program the way that I have, and to have disciplined and to tame the minds of some of these novices and students that came along the way. The games that they play, the things that they think they could get away with under the watchful eye of a teacher. Perhaps maybe they think I'm young and I'm not that experienced to catch them. And thus I did. And so it is. So now, when it comes to the nonprofit, that means choose 5 faithful, honest, transparent people with integrity and courage. 5 people. That's 5 sets of problems. 5 different types of personalities. Training of a monk is to attach onto no one. More people, more problems. Less people, less problems. So after 9 years now, going on 10, of monastic experience, um, you know, I've been able to decipher and discern who is worthy to be on the board and who is not, who is fit, suitable for the board, and who is not, clearly. So that's something you all to look forward to. Um, we all should think here of simplicity, and it is exactly that simplicity that one should run a monastery or digital simplicity. And it is exactly that simplicity that one should run a monastery or digital